Push P. Yeah, push P. Turn me up. Turn me up, P. Corners in the paddock, get my piece. Push P. Cop no drama for my beat. We don't want no.
Hello, wonderful people of YouTube. This is Cree Cree. Welcome to part 2 on Auntie Miss Anita's story in the Messy Auntie series. If you haven't watched part 1, go ahead and watch that first. I will have the link to that in the description. Otherwise, sit back, relax, and enjoy this video while we get into this mess. Let's get right on to it. Okay, now that we done got all the formalities out the way, cause I really tried to shorten it as best as I could, but I mean her resume is extensive, as you can see. But let's get into a little bit of this mess. As most of us all know, Auntie Miss Anita is not always the brightest and most friendliest person to be around and apparently to work with. She is very notorious for being a diva, for being rude and disrespectful to the people around her. But let her tell it, hey, I'm just being assertive and, you know, I demand what I want and I shouldn't have to settle for less. That's her way of putting it, but it comes off as very rude and very mean. She's a mean girl. One of the first ones I want to talk about is the apparent short-lived beef between her and Miss China Ann McClain. If you don't know who she is, well, I mean, of course, your kids do. If you don't, of course, she from Daddy's Little Girls, House of Pain, Black Lightning. She was a Disney kid for a little bit, had an Ant Farm. My daughter loved that show back then. So back in 2018, China took to Twitter to share her experience, her story of her meeting Anita Baker for the first time. Well, let me rephrase that. It wasn't her first encounter. It was her mother's encounter with Anita Baker that was not very pleasant. But anyway, China went to Twitter and she had this to say. She said, "Wow, my mom unfortunately just met Anita Baker and she was so rude. She started yelling at my mom for saying she liked her music. Wow, so disappointing." And tagged I am Anita Baker. That's her Twitter handle. So instead of Auntie Miss Anita just, realizing the wrong that she did and maybe reached out and say, I apologize, I'm sorry for what I did. No, she wants to try to come on Twitter and clap back. So she says, no one knew me or noticed me, no entourage, no special attention, just quietly filling out my passport app until a very loud person announces to the entire office that I'm some VIP / which I am not, and also announces they are VIPs doing a movie or something. I don't even know what she was talking about. I don't know if that was a clapback, if that was so. None of that made sense. So it's like you said a whole lot without really saying nothing. But Miss China Ann respectfully got her all the way together and said, "Hey ma'am, my mother is a pro, Miss Baker. She knows how to quietly compliment someone," which is what happened. There were only 8 people there. However, God knows the truth. Yes, he do, girl. The word teaches us to love and respect one another, and that's not what you did today. God bless. Once again, instead of acknowledging your wrongdoing and actually apologizing for what you did, you gotta come back. You gotta get the last word on Twitter again, talking about Lordy God, #high Republicans. Still, once again, you're not saying anything. What are you really saying? Nothing. What do Daddy's Little Girls do, Auntie Miss Anita? What did she do? She did nothing. Apparently, you got a song out here called "I Apologize," but you apparently don't know how to do that, ma'am. Respectfully. So the next quote unquote beef that I want to get into is the alleged riff that happened between Auntie Miss Anita and Miss Jill Scott. So many of you all may remember, VH1 used to do these live shows every year called Divas Live, right? So back around the end of 2011, VH1 did a Divas Live, and it was kind of more dedicated to the R&B soul divas, where they're basically honoring the women of R&B and soul. So Anita and Jill were slated to perform together. They were supposed to perform Anita's hit song, Sweet Love, And 2 hours before the taping, Anita skipped out and left and canceled her performance, and so they never performed it. There, of course, are some conflicting stories as to what actually happened. You know, both of them playing the victim. Well, I didn't do nothing, and she did this, and she did this, and yeah, you know how that go. I mean, I'm not absolving Jill of any of this either, because she can be a diva as well. So once the rumor mill started to swirl around about what happened between them, Auntie Miss Anita then took to Twitter and pretty much said that the reason that they did not perform it was due to a disagreement with the producers over her performance. They couldn't agree with, you know, what part she should sing and who should sing with her, because it's not really a duet song, and the argument got so bad that, you know, she ran out in tears and all that. And then she mentioned something about an exit clause. Well, the exit clause said that if the artist is not being presented properly per the agreement, then I should just sidestep all the nonsense and leave. She was mad because she said she wanted to rehearse it, because she said, hey, it needs to be rehearsed and sung properly. We can't just have me singing a couple lines and having her singing a couple lines. And I guess Jill didn't feel like it needed to be rehearsed, and, you know, she got mad about that, and so she left 2 hours before they were supposed to go on. So I'm like, so y'all just not getting together to rehearse 2 hours before taping? I'm like, that don't even make no sense. But anyway, Marsha Ambrosius from Floetry and Lettucey sung the song together, and they killed it. But of course, it would have been great if it was going to be Jill and Auntie Miss Anita, but whatever. There was also a rumor swirling around at that time that Jill punched Auntie Miss Anita in the face. I don't think that's true, though, because we would still be talking about that today. So Jill's response to that was pretty vague. Which tells me that Auntie Miss Anita might have been telling some truth in her Twitter rant. She says, there's a core of me that's still Jill, of course. I'm still going to be as kind as I can and as patient as I can. I still have an attitude when necessary. I will still fight if mandatory. I don't want to, of course, but it is what it is. I don't always mean fist fight. I just mean fight for my dignity and fight for my rights and my position in life. I didn't punch Anita Baker in the face. That's a terrible lie. We had a disagreement? Yeah. Who would swing on Anita Baker? Anita Baker is a hero to me. I grew up listening to her music. We just had a disagreement. She is still a hero to me to this day, but it was just more than I could take. So I was like, you know what? It's better for me to bow out and walk away. I'm not taking no sides in that one because, like I said, Jill Scott can definitely be a diva herself, and she just matched Auntie Miss Anita's energy, and it is what it is. We just, unfortunately, we will probably never ever see a working duet relationship or anything like that with them ever. Now, another one that I want to talk about, it's not a beef, so to speak, but it was a rather interesting and quite rude encounter that Auntie Miss Anita had with Mickey Howard. So back in 2006, Mickey Howard went on Wendy Williams when Wendy Williams still had her radio show, and did an interview. And I think this was back when Charlemagne was on that show as well. So anyway, the clip that I'm about to play on this one, it's when Mickey went on to Wendy Williams' show. This was back in 2006, where she talked about her encounter with Anita Baker. And this happened back late 80s, early 90s. It was like back in both of their heydays at the Soul Train Music Awards. And we're going to talk about that here in a minute. Listen to this clip.
Who were some of the women who you, or people in general, but particularly women who you didn't get along with back then? Who was giving you a difficult time? Let's talk about it.
Anita Baker.
Yeah. Now, what was it? Well, first of all, Anita came out with the Rapture CD, and she was a platinum woman.
Yeah.
So would she wear it like this?
Yeah. She told me, should I tell her?
Yes, of course.
It's funny now because it's over and
Yes,
we're older, but
yes.
I received a Soul Train award, and she was, presenting and so forth. And so right after I got it, and I'm walking backstage, she leans into me and hugs me and whispers in my ear. She says, put that on your mantle and keep it dust off, because it's the only one you're going to get.
What? What? Oh, wow.
Yes, she said that.
Wow.
I mean, okay, so not to throw shade at Mickey because I love her, but I mean, it might have been some truth to what Auntie Miss Anita was saying, because did she win another Soul Train award after that? I don't think she did. I don't think she won another one after that. So that it may have been some truth into what she was saying. Maybe she was. You know what? We gonna move on. We gonna move on. Now this next one isn't a beef, but it is funny. It's between Anita and Shaka Khan. I don't believe that they have beef with each other, so to speak, but they do have a mutual respect for each other. But I could tell from this next clip, Shaka Khan knows about Auntie Miss Anita and her antics, and she ain't with that shit. So listen to this. It was a interview that she did on Vlad with Lunel, and give a listen to this little clip.
Yes.
And I was asking you if you would ever do a versus, and you said,
Hell to the no.
fuck all that shit. Because I talked to some folks after I talked to you.
Yeah.
I said, if Chaka did a versus, who would you want? They're saying you and maybe Anita Baker. I don't think it, because I just
I'm so glad you're thinking.
Anybody in your
Yeah, Shaka and Anita ain't doing no verses, not together or not apart. They're not doing that. That's why I'm actually quite shocked that Gladys and Patty did a verses together. But we got to get the old school in there for the old heads. We got to get a verses for them too. So it's good that they did that. But yeah, Auntie and Shaka, no, they ain't doing that shit. Okay, so the next beef that I want to get into is one that people are still talking about, and that is the one between Auntie Miss Anita and Babyface. So in May of 2023, Anita Baker kicked off her Songstress tour. It was the 40th anniversary of when the debut album, The Songstress, came out back in 1983. Babyface joined the tour as her opening act. Okay, so the tour kicked off in May. They did a few cities, the first 3 or 4 stops that they made on the tour. It seemed to went well. The problem came in June, the following month, when they stopped on a tour in New Jersey. And from what I am reading, there were technical difficulties that happened that delayed the show for 2 hours. So it was supposed to start at 7. It didn't actually start until around sometime after 9. And as a result of that, the opening act had to be eliminated from that concert performance, and it was just supposed to be the headliner performance. So that was a story on that. After that happened, Babyface went to Facebook and just made a post. Well, here, let me just read what it said real quick. It says, "I am truly sorry to my fans who have been waiting for us to hit the stage this evening at the Prue Center. I was asked not to perform in order to give Miss Baker her space and time to perform her show in its entirety. My band and I are extremely saddened we didn't get to perform for y'all tonight." That's it. That's all, right? It's technical difficulties, right? I mean, there's not a whole lot that anybody can really do about that. But apparently, the Babyface fan base was not trying to hear that. And of course, they went to Twitter and went in on Auntie Miss Anita. She was not having that. And then she fired back, and in retaliation, kicked Babyface off the tour. Okay, so I'll give her the benefit. I give her the benefit of the doubt on the technical difficulties, because yeah, when it comes to booking venues for performances and events and things like that, a lot of these venues, you're only booked to perform at a certain time, between this time and this time, and everybody got to be out of the venue by this time. And so if you're 2 hours behind schedule, there are adjustments that you have to make. And since she was the headliner of the tour, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to kick Babyface off the tour. Okay, I get that. Some of the fans may not understand that, but hey, I mean, that's just how folks are. But kicking Babyface off the tour, what you do that for? What he had nothing to do with what all them people were saying to you. He had nothing to do with that. But you gonna kick him off the tour cause you mad. because he ain't come to your rescue and your defense. As much as you be on Twitter, much as you been on Twitter these last 5, 6, 7, 8 years, ranting and raving and going off on folks, you can handle a little backlash. You should be used to that by now. I mean, clearly you about that black Twitter life, and you ain't never scared. But Kenny's crazies, as you call them, they coming for you, and you gonna kick him off the tour because he ain't come to your defense. Babyface is the most mild-mannered, sensitive, non-confrontational person, and so he ain't gonna get in the middle of that. He said what he said, and he jumped ship. Ain't nobody about to keep going back and forth on the internet with you and nobody else. For what? Man, that was wrong. And then to add fuel to the fire, then you gonna throw poor Beyonce in the middle of it, talking about some, oh, by the way, he hates Beyonce. Well, what Beyonce got to do with it? Beyonce over in the corner minding her damn business, and you just gonna throw her in and talking about some babyface hate Beyonce. Why would you do that? Why would you do that, Auntie Miss Anita? Somebody just need to take her phone. For real, take her phone. Who was running her Twitter account? Man, you know what? Her and Auntie Dion. Boy, them Twitter pages, they be on fire. Have y'all been to their pages? Y'all need to go and just scroll through their Twitter pages if you got Twitter. It's quite entertaining, for real. But yeah, Auntie Miss Anita, you can't do this. You can't keep doing this. You pushing 70. We need to do other things. Quit beefing with the people online. Them people don't, they ain't on your level. They ain't got the money and the success you got. So don't be arguing with nobody online. It's dumb. I don't even do it, and I ain't nobody. I ain't arguing with nobody online, so you shouldn't either. Respectfully. But what's interesting is a lot of people that were going in on her happened to bring up the lawsuit that Babyface filed against her back in 2006. Now, if you don't know about that, Babyface worked on a song on her album My Everything, and he wrote and produced a song on there called Like You Used to Do. And also the agreement was that she was supposed to pay the producer fees for it. He was supposed to have performed that song with her on a few dates on the tour, and none of those things ever happened. So basically he created this song for her, put it on the album, and then she just took it and dipped and didn't do any of the things on her end that she was obligated to do for him for doing that for her. So, the streets are saying that she still kind of held a grudge with him behind that. And so then when it came to them doing this tour, she pretty much did whatever that she could to sabotage him while she was on the tour, which eventually gave her the green light to kick him off. She needed a reason to kick him off. And so Kenny's crazies coming for her was that catalyst of that. That's what's being said, allegedly. I mean, yeah, there were people pissed off that felt some kind of way that he wasn't there, but at the end, Anita's gonna still have her diehard fans that's gonna still ride with her no matter what. So, she didn't lose any sleep and didn't lose no money, so she's still eating. So there's that. So this last beef that I want to talk about, and there's actually quite an extensive history behind this one, is the one between her and the soul balladeer and crooner himself, the wonderful Luther Vandross.
You fucking look like Luther Vandross.
See, their beef has history that even I was even surprised to find out about when I did my research on all of this. So their beef goes all the way back to early 1987, right? So they were slated to perform together at the 1987 Grammy Awards. They were supposed to do a rendition of Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell's classic hit, Your Precious Love. Everything was set up. They rehearsed it. Parts was down and everything. And then all of a sudden, just hours before they were supposed to go on stage and perform, she canceled that performance at the last minute and just decided to do just her own solo song by herself, which means that because at that time she was the bigger, more heavy hitter at the time, she performed and Luther was out. So they never performed the song, which is heartbreaking because I think, man, that would have been all that. But of course, that wouldn't be the end of their meeting. They did cross paths once again later on in the year. In July of 87, they were both slated to be co-headliners, rather, in the music festival that happened in Cincinnati. It was called the 26th Annual Ohio Valley Cool Festival. And it was a 2-night festival, Friday and Saturday. Friday, Luther and Anita were the 2 top billers for that night. And then on Saturday, it was Patti LaBelle and Freddie Jackson. Other performers that was to perform on that Friday night was Midnight Star, Lakeside, and Shirley Murdoch. Apparently their performances together on that night garnered so much attention and critical acclaim that it was decided that they should go on tour together. Since they both had new albums that were coming up in this next year, Anita Baker was coming out with the album Giving You the Best That I Got, which was the 3rd album. And then Luther's album, his next album coming up after this, was Any Love. So it was only right to put them on tour together. I mean, at this point, they were both at the top of their game. Luther, been in the game, but, he was really coming into his own. Anita Baker just kind of came out a couple of years ago and just blew everybody away. They were dubbed the king and queen of contemporary R&B. They was hot. They was everywhere. So the following year, in September of 1988, they kicked off their tour, which was called The Heat. It was a 3 to 4 month tour. They're supposed to, tour all these cities between September of 88 and around January of 1989 is how long this tour was slated to last. When I was reading up about the tour, I actually saw that Sinbad was the opening act for this tour. Now that was that would have been good, because Sinbad was that dude back then. So the 4-month tour, it seemed to be great. They were getting great reviews in the press. Everything seemed to have went off without a hitch. But as we all know, everything is not always as it seems. There was definitely some drama and some conflicts going on backstage that the general public knew absolutely nothing about. Now, I can't necessarily take no sides on this one either, because they was both some divas. Luther definitely was a diva. Let me know if y'all want me to do a Messy Auntie story on him, because I sure do it. But it was a point in the tour where it got so bad that they literally had to be separated from each other. Like, there was curtains, barricades between them as far as like dressing room is concerned, and as far as everything backstage, everything was separated. They had to have one side was his side and the other side was her side, and they could never cross paths. So literally, that's how they did their shows, separate and not seeing or interacting with each other at all. It was even at the point when Anita went on, after she finished her set, then they had to take 20 to 30 minutes to take all of her stuff down, or her stage down. And so his stage could be set up, because he did not want to step foot on the same stage that she stepped on. So all of that, I mean, that's terrible. Also, they're billed as co-headliners on this tour, but every time Luther went on after Anita did her set, then he would go on and talk about, let's give a round of applause to my opening act, Anita Baker. And as we know, Anita don't take that opening act title too kindly. Like, bruh, opening act where? Not over here, sir. And the more and more I looked into it, it didn't seem more like a beef. It seemed more like a war between them, because it was kind of a battle of, who can do better on what night. And the reviews started looking like some days Anita would do better on a night on the tour. And then there were other days when Luther would kill it in the tour and she would just do all right. But what a lot of people probably didn't know back then was while they were on this tour, Anita was pregnant. She was pregnant with her first son, the very first son that tragically was lost in the miscarriage. So not only is she a diva, she hormonal and she emotional, and Luther's a man and don't understand any of that, and he's of course not trying to hear any of that. He ain't sympathetic to none of that. He just like, you just stay over there and I stay over here. They were just petty, fighting over everything. Well, this is my robe, and this is my lipstick, and this is my makeup, and this is my curtain, and this is my robe and my flashlight. I mean, it got bad. It got really bad. I'm very, very surprised that they didn't put the paws on each other. I mean, if they did, none of us know about it, but I'm just saying, I'm shocked at that. Probably because she was pregnant. He was like, you lucky you pregnant, because I would have kicked your ass a long ass time ago. Especially when you walked out on me at Grammy night back in '87. Yeah, I know I know he was still mad about that. He had to have been, because I would have been. I can say from Luther's side that probably had a lot to do with their riff. And also for the simple fact is, I mean, low key, I believe that Luther may have been a little bit jealous, because he been at this point been in the game for a good decade, maybe a good decade and a half. He been performing and singing and stuff since the 70s. He's paid his dues, and he's laid that groundwork, being a background singer and being a songwriter for other people, being a producer and things like that, and working on his craft for years. And then all of a sudden, here come little Miss Anita coming out the gate and basically achieving the success and getting all the accolades that he had worked for years to try to get. All of a sudden, she come out in a couple of years, she passing him up. So in a way, yeah, I can see that Luther definitely felt a way about that. And then to add insult to injury, I tried to do a song with you to let's get us both some brownie points, going to the Grammys, doing this duet for dear old friend Marvin Gaye, who just passed a couple of years prior to that. And then right before we supposed to go on at the 23rd hour, you gonna back out on me and do your own song, and then as a result, I'm kicked off of the show and I'm not performing at all. Yeah, that's some bullshit. I would have been mad too. I'm just talking about it now, and I'm like, yeah, I would have been mad too. Auntie Luther didn't deserve that. He didn't deserve that. Luther had been in these streets for years at this point, and he worked hard to gain the respect and get the recognition and accolade that he strived so long to get. And then once it's finally at that point where, yeah, I finally got it, then Anita want to come in and snatch that crown off and be like, gotcha, bitch, and then just ran off. Yeah, it's layers to this. You got to dig deep into this. You know what I'm saying? That cool festival that happened in Ohio, that's something that's been going on since 1975. I know it's been going on since the 70s, but when he started performing, he was performing at it since 1982. And when he started performing, he was like the top biller pretty much every year up until the year when Anita Baker came on, and then he had to share that top billing with her, and that kind of caused some tension. I think that might have been the last year of that festival. I don't remember if I seen any other festival after that. I think that might have been the last one. But from 82 to 87, he was on it. And then all of a sudden, like I said, 87 came, Anita on there, and she's stealing all the shine in the spotlight. Well, the majority of the shine in the spotlight away from him. And so now he got to share it with her. There was some definite deep-rooted arch rivalry, arch nemesis vibes that I get from them too. And ironically, they were, like I said, they were dubbed the king and queen of contemporary R&B. Before there was R. Kelly with the title of the king of the baby making music, it was Luther. It was Luther and Anita. Them were the ones. that brought them late 80s, early 90s babies onto the scene. But you know what? At the end of the day, they was both wrong. They was both wrong for that. There's ways they could have handled that. They could have handled that better. But like I said, when you two divas and y'all both used to getting things the way that y'all wanted, ain't no compromising. Ain't no compromising in going on in that. But it didn't stop either one of them. They both had their wonderful and respected careers. After this, Luther continued on until he had his stroke in '03 and ultimately passed away in '05. And Auntie Miss Anita, she's still out here in these streets, still out here touring. You know, like I said, she ain't losing no sleep or no bread. She kicking people off tours, kicking the pole concert goers off tours, and you know she's still doing that. But I mean, hey, she's still working. So I mean, we can't say a whole lot about that. But regardless of how we feel about Auntie Miss Anita, she's still the GOAT. She's still the GOAT, and as long as she is here, as long as she's still walking this earth, she still deserves all the flowers that she gets. Like I said, even though she's a diva, but most of us are. That's what this upcoming Messy Auntie series is about. They're still gonna be legends. We just have to learn not to idolize all the people that we loved and grew up with. Auntie Miss Anita, you still loved, you still adored, and you still revered. Just stay the hell off Twitter. That's all I ask. Stay off Twitter. Just stop. Anyway. That's all I got for y'all. That's it. All. Give me your thoughts on Auntie Miss Anita and let me know what you all think. And if you can think of anybody else that you want me to do a story on for the Messy Auntie series, you know, put that down in the comments and I'll get to work on it. Otherwise, thank you so much for being here and watching my video. If you have made it this far, please do not forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I will see y'all next time. My name is Cree, and y'all be easy.